My name's Aaron. Welcome back to my channel. How are you? I am fantastic with extra moving hands. Today I am reviewing Date for Men, which is 219.99, 220 euros. This is expensive. Date for Men is an oriental fruity powerhouse with a clash of 4 fruits: bergamot, lemon, mandarin, juniper berry, with a clash of sexual oriental masculinity. 4 notes: patchouli, oud, vetiver, cardamom. Top notes are lemon, bergamot, mandarin, can't pronounce that word, cardamom, ambrox, woods, cardamom. Cardamom listed twice. Base notes are musk, patchouli, oud, vetiver. You might notice I've got a different top on to Office, and the reason for this will become apparent in this video. First sample I got, I wasn't sure, and I recorded, and I've got a new sample and I can test it, and I just wanted to make sure. As you know, I am an oud snob. I love oud. I use real oud. I've got 4 different types of oud which I use in different sort of amounts, and oud has a resonance to it, and you absolutely can tell real oud in a formulation. It is something unique, beautiful, brooding, dark, animalistic, balsamy, very, very dark, very, very smoky, very, very sexual. I personally love Thai oud, but apparently Video Unicorn told me that this contains oud from Laos. And oud from Laos is my least favourite oud. It's a little bit too heavy, it's a little bit too animalistic, and in my mind it's sort of like, it's not refined enough for my liking. For me, it feels more of the cheaper sort of end, more industrial oud. The ouds I get, I've shown you in my videos, they're thick and resinous. I just prefer working with sort of that sort of oud. It's a very personal thing, but Laos oud absolutely does have a feel to it, but it is a more of what I call an industrial oud, you know, smashed out. I'll know straight away that this contains real oud. Do we have our fragrance samples? Are we engaged with our higher selves? Let's get testing. So, I do like this very much, and I'll tell you why I like this very much. I love this because it contains notes that I personally use, which I'm picking out straight away. So this formulation is built upon Isu Super Backbone, ambroxan. I love ambroxan very, very much. This is a similarity to Office, so it's using dihydromercenol to flick and push and give lightness to quite a heavy, dense formulation. This contains ambers, and I love ambers very much, and you probably heard me talk about them quite a few times. I find ambers very, very exciting. So I love, there's a classification, and I see them as excitatory molecules. So you have things like ambronacide, I'm going to pronounce these all wrong, but amber extreme, amber max, amber core, all of those sort of molecules I really enjoy, and they're very dry, hard ambers, and I love combining with lots and lots of different ways. In differing amounts, in different concentrations, they do different things. I'm spending ambers in this, which I love very, very much. I think this is a fantastic formulation. This is lovely and dry, and dryness is given through the linalool compounds. So we have some lovely combinations of linalool, ethyl linalool combined to give a bergamot feel. This does not contain real bergamot. I'm loving this as well because it contains patchouli. I love patchouli very much. This is a dominant patchouli fragrance. I am smelling real lemon. I love real lemon. Real lemon smells to me like pear drops. That sort of sweet, dry feel to it, to give a beautiful feel to it. I love lemon, and lemon's used massively in a lot of French perfumery in combinations with sort of mosses and things, which I love doing that very much. This contains a raw material called elm leaf oil, which is like a tart, dry, balsamy sort of raw material. And the tartness comes from pink pepper, which I love. I'm using these raw materials in a completely different way at the moment, so I'm actually working with these quite a lot for a release for a men's fragrance. There is some sweetness coming through from aroma chemicals. The choice of musks are fantastic. I love the choice of these musks. They are what I consider a classy musk. You have musks can move from being very clean to I consider some quite elevated, to give sort of elevation and sort of like a classy feel. Those sort of musks I'd use in Chris's formulation, because I consider him like a classy man. That's it, like that sort of classy, highbrow musk. And you have some dirty, filthy musks, and they sort of move. This has clean musks combined with some sort of classic, beautiful musks. This is a very classic choice of musk, very stable. This has sweetness. So, interestingly, I think the name Date is what you'd wear on a date, but also feels a bit like a date, like you're biting into a date. So maybe that's the Perfumer may have got inspiration from that. This I think is much better than the first one, but there's absolutely a dry similarity between the both. You can tell the same perfumer was involved in this. To me, this feels like the perfumer was given a little bit more artistic license and enjoyed himself a bit more. This feels a little bit more creative, and this is much more something I would wear. On to the question. This does not contain oud. I am not getting the resonance of oud with this at all. I'm getting a very clever assimilation of raw materials. I'm not getting the living, breathing embodiment of oud coming through this. Oud has a definite resonance to it. I'm just not picking up oud. In my opinion, I'm not picking up oud. On to my final thoughts. I prefer this one to Office for Men. This is more up my my personal tastes. I love the raw materials that have been chosen for this. It is something that I'm working sort of on with these sort of raw materials, so I can detect the peppercorn, I can detect the lemon, I can detect the patchouli and the ambers and backbone of a nice sweet super molecule and the ambroxan. This is lovely. The projection is fantastic. The projection on both of these are really fantastic. There is absolutely a similarity between the both. This smells like a night version of his original fragrance, so I understand it. So I'm going to go through my marks for you. Technically, I think it's fantastic, so I'm going to mark it a 4. I think it's really, really good actually. I really enjoy it. I think it's superb. Personally, I very much like it, but I think it's very safe. Date for Men should be, if you're going on a date with someone, you're looking to romance them, you're looking, it should be a sex fragrance for me, and a sex fragrance should be dirty, and oud would have made this dirty, and real rose and ambergris would have made this living, breathing, throbbing, high throttle sexual energy, and I'm not getting that from this. I'm getting a really lovely commercial fragrance with no sex at all, and again this feels like really pretty but with no guts to it, no sex to it, no passion to it. It feels very dry and sterile. So I'm going to take into account date, sex, men. I'm going to mark it a 1.5 because I don't think it's pushing it to what I think happens on a date. This just feels too safe and sterile for me. It's very nice, so I'm going to give it a 1.5. The price, this is massively overpriced, so I'm going to mark it a 0 for that. So I'm going to give it a 6.5. If this contained real rose, real oud, ambergris, it would have pushed it up massively actually, and that's where the marks are coming down. If this had real oud, real rose or ambergris, it would have been up as an 8.5. I don't think it's groundbreaking actually. I don't think it is a groundbreaking. It is so safe. It is so frightened to be different, and it just feels like everything else at the moment. Okay, and it has got that Sauvage and Aventus sort of smell to it, and that is the massively projecting part of it. It just feels so commercial. It's very nice, but it's very safe. It's massively overpriced. Again, this should be a maximum of £80. It should not be up in the £200. I don't understand the marketing thing. I had a look on his website. He's just released some women's one, and this is another perplexing thing. He's doing an initial offer for about €70, and then it jumps up to about 200 for the women's fragrance. I don't get that. I'm continually, personally, trying to always lower the prices for you. On a positive note about this, I love the core. I love the fruitiness, the dryness. There's some elements I really love because I'm manipulating a similar sort of effect for the man's fragrance I've got coming up, which is missing from my range. So I'm working with these raw materials. That's why I like it. I'm always upfront with you about that. I use real rose, oud, ambergris, all of this. I can show you my raw materials when people come to my house and actually to my lab and they see the amount of raw materials. The first thing I do pretty much is I show them real rose, real oud, real ambergris. I sort of show these with Monica. I showed her straight away. I love showing people raw materials. I think it's so exciting. And in this aspect, I think he says it's containing oud and I'm not detecting oud. And that's a massive shame for me. So I hope you love this review. Thumbs up and subscribe, all that bull. And I'll see you soon for a fragrance review.